What's going on? This your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Astroworld was a theme park under the Six Flags umbrella that closed down in 2005. It's located in Houston, Texas. And while the park might be closed forever, Travis Scott is going to make sure that the name lives on for as long as his career is around. Travis wanted to essentially create the same experience you get by going to the theme park in an audio form. And I'll continue to break that down and what that actually means throughout this entire review. So let's open up the gates of Astroworld and come on in. The first and biggest thing that I loved about this album is that the guest features are not listed. Now you might be thinking, well, that's kind of weird for you to be all excited about that, but I was. Because the first listen is very important. First time that you listen to an album is something that you just can't duplicate ever again. And with Travis not listing guest features, that first listen is much more special because now you have no idea who's on the album. You have no clue that Frank Ocean is going to pop up on track 2 or Drake is going to show up at the beginning of Sicko Mode and then slowly just go away, switch to Travis Scott, go away, go back to Drake. And before we get into more of the guest features, I wanted to stop at that point because this is something that I noticed quite a few times on Astroworld. Travis, in a way, I think is kind of simulating how you can go to a theme park, you could plan out your day, but there's always going to be something that's just thrown at you like a curveball. Oh, you want to go see this and this and this? Well, here's this. Now you got to go see that. And I think that's what he kind of does in an audio form because you're thinking, okay, Drake's gonna, keep killing this and Travis is gonna come on, it's gonna be the same beat. Nope. Doom. It stops. And then it goes to Travis Scott, stops again, goes back to Drake. He does that on Stargazing too. Halfway through Stargazing, you get an entirely new song. You're thinking this might be track 2, but it's still part of Stargazing. These two components make up Stargazing. Now going back to the guest features, a lot of them were really enjoyable. I think The Weeknd and Travis Scott have really good chemistry on Wake Up. I think The Weeknd definitely overshadowed Travis Scott just by a little bit, but it's a good collaboration nonetheless. You have the legendary Stevie Wonder playing harmonica on Stop Trying to Be God. I know Travis is not the first person to have Stevie, playing an instrument on this song, but it adds so much to the record. The production of it is great without it, but then you have the harmonica parts and you're like, damn, this is fire. It's something that you don't hear a lot of in hip hop. Harmonicas aren't really popular, I don't think, at least in hip hop production. While most of the guest features are stellar, there are some that just don't hit. 21 Savage is on a record called NC-17. And while a 21 Savage verse is usually enjoyable, I didn't really think this one had too much to offer. I think there's one part where I did laugh. He said, I nutted on her cheek, now her name Babyface. Okay, that's good for a laugh, but the more you listen to it, the more you're it loses its appeal. It loses its, what's the word? Just speciality. It doesn't feel as good the, 5th, 6th, 7th time hearing that line. And then there's Nav. I don't want Nav anywhere near any music that I listen to ever. I've listened to Nav's projects, unfortunately. I've heard Nav on guest features and absolutely do not get the appeal. I don't understand what anybody sees in this guy. I really don't. So I don't care if it's 6 bars, 16 bars, 32 bars. I don't care if Nav drops in for an ad-lib. Keep him away from music. Just don't put him on a record at all. And one more thing to note about the guest features before I move on to the rest of the album. There are a couple instances on here where not having guest features leads to like a dark side. Rappers love to copy other rappers or singers. I don't understand it, but I swore up and down listening to this album a few times until I actually looked up the credits that Sway's. I'm riled up. I thought that Sway Lee was on No Bystanders, but it's Juice World. I'm listening, it sounds just like Sway Lee. On my favorite record on this entire project, Can't Say, and I'll discuss that a little bit more in detail in a few. Don Toliver sounds like Young Thug. Like, it's a little bit lower, like in the voice, like you can hear a difference. But when you first hear the song, you first hear it the first couple times, you're thinking, okay, this definitely sounds like Young Thug. It's not. Now, I'm not saying that these two guest features aren't good, because they are. I just felt a little bit tricked. Travis Scott is ridiculously good at constructing albums. Minus the lyrics, the production on Astroworld is phenomenal. I think he's really good at executive producing the right styles, the right harmonies, having the right guest features, and so much more. Like, Astroworld is a pretty big experience. If you were to strip away all the vocals and play this as an instrumental album and be like, whose album is this? And you had never heard it before, you would say Travis Scott. It just has that distinct sound. In Travis's case, he's one of the artists who doesn't need to do something different. He doesn't have to veer off and try all these different new experiments. No, he understands that production and hooks are a winning combination. And as long as he has that down, he's going to continue to be as successful as he's been. My favorite melody on Astroworld is on the record Can't Say. Now, I say melody over hook because I'm not as enamored with the lyrics as I am with the melody. I stepped away to go to the gym for a few hours, and in the absence, I was humming the melody for Can't Say. Like, over and over again. It was stuck in my head. It was the first record that truly did get stuck in my head. And when that happens, you remember that. And so while the lyrics aren't anything to like gush over, I do like the melody a lot. It's very catchy. And that whole record is good. Like, even though I talked about Don Toliver already, I did like the verse. It's just Young Thug-esque. Out of every project prior, in terms of Travis Scott's discography, there's always been like a few songs that I'll keep. Like, I consider myself a fan of Travis Scott, but I don't consider myself like a super fan by any means. You know, going back to Rodeo, you had Nightcrawler and Antidote, Birds in the Trap, you had Through the Late Night, Goosebumps, and those are just like 4 examples, but I'm definitely sure that there's at least 2-3 more off each album that I really enjoyed and kept and continue to play. Now, I say all that to say that Astroworld is probably the best Travis Scott album that I've heard as a whole. I think it has the most replay value out of his discography, not including the mixtapes, because if you include the mixtapes, then, you know, maybe Days Before Rodeo is in the conversation there. But Astroworld has the most replay value largely due to Travis understanding the production and the hooks, having his own unique sound. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the lyrics. A lot of the lyrics on this album are pretty much like background music. Now, I know the popular thing online is to say that nobody listens to Travis Scott for lyrics, but I can't help but feel like Astroworld would be an even better album if the lyrics were a bit sharper. Like, this is the complete package in terms of an album, how it should sound. But the lyrics, they're just not up to par. Travis is good at doing hooks. He has a knack for it. But once you start getting more past that, then you start to see where his flaws are. And so he's very flawed as an artist making, his verses. Travis is also good at coming up with a few lines here and there, but after several listens of Astroworld and being able to come up with all that I have to say about the album, I can't really pinpoint a single verse or song where I'm like, yeah, this is where he was really going off. And again, I guess Travis doesn't need that because a lot of his fans, they don't listen to him for lyrics. But that is the one like flaw that I have about the album, is that the lyrics could be much better. Astroworld was indeed a wild ride. I feel like this is the best all-around Travis Scott album. It's pretty much like going to a theme park in audio form, because you enter and it's like, oh cool, I get to see everything. And as you continue to go deeper, you continue to ride rides, play games, eat food. It gets better with time. Astroworld doesn't fall off in the second half. Some of the best records on this album are found on the second half. Still, the lyrics could have been better. That's my biggest thing about the album. It's like going to a theme park and playing the games and not winning a prize. Like, yeah, you had fun. We all had fun. But, you definitely would have wanted that prize. Whatever it is, a poster or a stuffed animal. Nonetheless, I'm leaving Astroworld very happy. Travis Scott did really good on this album. So those are my thoughts on Travis Scott's Astroworld album. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at @SermonsDomain. Check out some of my other content, more reviews, discussions, interviews, etc. And as always, I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.